Little music for the people. What up, YouTube? We back. Woo! Although we shouldn't be dancing like this over the subject that we're talking about, people. But sometimes that's what music is made for. Sometimes music is made to make you feel better when you're going through something. Let's listen to that. Especially hip hop. It's for the youth, but it's also for the underprivileged, for the poor, for the underserved, and also for those who have passed. All right, people, check it out. We're back. You're watching right now live on your screen, on your YouTube screen, whether it's computer or you want a mobile device. This is Late Night Hip Hop Live with Bruce Lively.
And I'm D-Boy Slim.
D-Boy, today we yet again, for the third week in a row, DMX passed. Now we got to talk about two more. Black Rob and Shock G passed. We haven't got to talk about it yet. 2021 is a doozy, bro. What's going on? Let's just remember, it's not just 2021 either. People, we decided to talk about this because it's something, it's almost like it's something in the water with hip hop right now. Let's just take a look. Just take a look at the number of people that we're talking about. Fred the Godson, Pop Smoke, FBG Duck, that was this year. MF Doom, King Von this year. Shock G and Black Rob and DMX in 2021. And there's way more than that. These are just some of the names that I decided to put out there because it just feels like there's something in the water. It feels like there's something that needs to be addressed, and it's more than just one thing. So before I even get into it, just talk about that. How are you feeling right now, D-Boy? D-Boy Slim, the hip-hop historian, the head that you are, what hip-hop means to you, to see all these people going one by one. Expound.
I'm glad you said that and made the list of the artists that have gone either this year.
Nipsey in 19.
Right at the end of last year or whatever happened. It's sort of a mix of emotions, bro. Of course, as a fan of hip hop, it's sad. It's sad and it's tragic. Black Rob, indeed, a legend. We lost the whether the heads knew it or not, we lost another legend. And when I speak his name and being legendary status, his flow could hold water with the best of. His flow, he could stand toe to toe with the best of them, and he did. If you follow Black Rob's career, he came up through the ranks with the likes. I
thought you were saying Shock G was a legend. You saying Black Rob?
Black Rob.
Okay.
I'll get Shock G in just 1 second. Black Rob came up through the ranks with the likes of the Locks, the Camerons, Herb McGruffs, that whole Harlem Uptown scene at the time.
The ugly scene.
And Mace, you heard him on joints with Mace from the get-go. He, of course, him being from Harlem, naturally he was on joints with the other Harlem alumni. But yeah, and at the same time you had Diddy, who was honing and polishing off the Locks at the same time. So they all came up through the ranks together. again, Black Rob's flow could go toe to toe with anybody, and I do mean anybody. Shock G, another legend. He may be more of a well-known legend for his work and catalog of what he did with Digital Underground. Some may know him from the joints he did with Tupac and the rest of the Digital Underground. Some may know him strictly from being Humpty Hump. You know, I had to remind my partner over here, Mr. Lively, that that's the same person. And
that was embarrassing. I can't believe I forgot it. You start thinking of them as two different people at some point.
And that's a fact. The character of Humpty from that one song took on such a persona that people actually thought that was his rap name. People actually thought that was actually a person, Humpty Hump. You know, actually he was Shock G. And that was just one of many of his diverse characters. That's just the type of individual that he was. That was his contribution to hip hop. Long before the Ludacris's and the babies who do the characters.
Wait a minute.
And have fun with the videos.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say legend, and if you listen to him closely, or even heard him on the peripheral, the first thing you would say is Luda. That's where you get that from. That's where you get those extreme vocal inflections, the really having fun with the microphone, with your voice, to make comedy and seriousness. But I digress. I'll let you go. It's just because when you said that, I was like, I already had that written down, waiting to say. That's what he reminds me of. He was the original Luda, without the past.
And, you know, like you said, having fun with the videos, having, you know, characters outside of yourself.
Yep.
And just being able to laugh at yourself. That in itself, to me, is another skill set, because especially in a day where everybody's too tough, people are dying for trying to just be tough. We're trying to look tough. We're trying to appear tough. There was a time, and not that the early 90s was any less tough, but there was guys like Shock G, who comes out of Oakland, by the way. He doesn't come from a soft part of town. He comes from Oakland. There was guys like Shock G who, you know, I'm the one that said, just grab him in the biscuit. Like, if you listen to Humpty, he had lines in there, like you said, that were humorous. And I appreciated that contribution. You could tell there was nothing else to that other than him trying to create humor.
Being funny. Just being funny. And go ahead.
He was a dope lyricist, but that was one of his contributions to hip hop, was that, you know, he could be a funny guy, he could be a character outside of himself, he could laugh at himself along with everybody else, like, and we appreciated that. One of my favorite joints from Shane, I'm gonna let you get in just 1 second.
You good?
One of my favorite joints is "Kiss Me." If you kiss me, then I kiss you back. You forgot about that. Forgot about it. That's one of my favorite joints right there. I could remember being 12 and 13, trying to get your first kiss and kiss on a girl, and using that line. If you kiss me, then I kiss you back. You know, you see what I'm saying? So, yeah, rest in peace, Shock G. Definitely, we lost another legend way too soon. Condolences to the family and friends from here at the basement and Team Box Cutter.
Every time. So let me start with Shock G then, because I also want to say there's going to be people out there, and this does happen. Somebody dies and all of a sudden they're a legend because they're gone. Black Rob, I don't know if I would put him in legendary status. I do know that acknowledging his contribution is worthwhile and necessary. But Shock G, there's some people who are saying, man, come on, he was Humpty, right? No. There's one thing that we have to remember that Digital Underground did. And it was the whole idea of the prophylactics, sex education, black sex education in the hood. They had a bunch of songs about that weren't that were specifically for that purpose. Just almost like, let's talk about sex, baby. When people talk about Salt and Pepper and the contribution, that people don't understand that in those times when AIDS first started coming out and understanding how to protect yourself, these guys was on the front lines of that, making jokes about it and making serious songs about it. I mean, more than one or two, three or four. Like it was something that they actually did that you could say was a benefit to their generation.
Hence why you would have a young Tupac coming in, speaking with a message.
And speaking with a message. So, yeah, legendary for sure. I mean, that style that he had definitely brings up people like Luda. Definitely bring your Tech 9 animated people, I'm sure, grew up with that as part of their background and musical background. But there's another side of this, people. After we give the accolades, after we give the shout out, after we give the legendary promises, we also have to recognize there's another side. Like, why is it happening so much? And we'll say with hip-hop artists because they're in the limelight. But once again, another guy found in a hotel, no cause found, but he had a problem with drugs. Once again.
Well, I want to say this before.
We don't know if that's it, but I'm going to get to something else. Before we
get too far deep, we don't know if that's the cause.
We have no idea.
But then simply Google Shock G and what's the cause of death?
There is none yet. There is no cause of death yet. Yeah.
But we don't know, and we're not there speculating that that's the cause of his death.
But there is another part. There's Pop Smoke. There is also DMX, who we know. We know what we know about X, right? There is a lot more than maybe we would even like to say, where the problems are somewhat systemic, bro. Are somewhat systemic to where we've I don't know what it is. I think we've decided like to just go hard all the time. We go hard all the time. Whether it's
let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing with me. Like you said, it's broken up into a couple of parts. I don't want to lump everyone's death all into one because each of them died for different reasons.
Uh-huh.
And there were different variables that went into them actually passing. Now, if you want to go back to the Pop Smoke issue, that's fine too. That's an issue inside of itself. A lot of people felt that Pop Smoke may have brought it upon himself because of a lifestyle that he lived. When I think in Pop Smoke's case, oddly enough, yes, he did live with inside of the gang culture and whatever have you. But oddly enough and ironically enough, I think I think Pop Smoke's mistake was allowing people to see too much. Allowing people to see your location, allowing people to see what you got, allowing people, and even people close to you, you know what I'm saying? Because at some point, if everybody around you doesn't have what you have, or isn't quite where you're at, then there are emotions that's going to become involved. There are feelings and sometimes they're not all positive. Sometimes they're not all supportive. Sometimes they're not in your favor. Sometimes there's jealousy. Sometimes there's envy. And I just say all that to say, I think that may have been Pop Smoke's mistake as far as his death was concerned.
Quick response. Just like Mac, white boy, who's gone too soon. I'm gonna get
that got killed in Florida.
Yeah. No, not even him. Either way, what I'm saying is part.
You're not talking about X.
No, not Triple X Temptation. He's another one, but that was 19. There's the white boy that we used to. He's also produces. He was just a cool Mac Miller. The idea that we go extra hard also feeds into the Pop Smoke thing. Like, you're always on Instagram. You don't have a house to enjoy it anymore. You have a house to show it, to push it. You don't smoke a blunt on the weekends to relax. You smoke 45 with the extra indica plus the blast on it to ensure that you're doing the absolute most all the time. And it comes, like we always talk about, it's this. I appreciate that, beautiful. She said Mac Miller, she showed us, and she got a few more comments we probably got to talk about in a minute. Appreciate that, beautiful Efraj. But yeah, like, we've doing the most has become the norm, and it's, I think that it affects our day-to-day. I think it affects our Instagram posts. I think it affects the drug use. I think it affects our eating habits. When people you see die of diabetes, it's become something that we need to talk about. How do we get back to toning this down in a day and age when you have to be the most all the time? I mean, I could be dead wrong, but it just seems like that to me.
Well, here's the thing. Again, to each of their respective depths, I think there's different variables. Now, as you get into the Mac Miller issue, that's a whole nother issue inside of itself.
MF Doom, gone. Fred the Godson, gone. Overeating.
Wait a second, bro. Because like I said, each death that you're naming, there's different causes for this. You know, yeah. Fred the God was from Corona. He suffered illnesses, I think, that was out of his control. So, but let me stick to this.
I'm gonna talk about that. Go ahead.
Let me get to Mac Miller. Mac Miller, in the case of Mac Miller, I think we found out that it was indeed a drug overdose.
Yeah.
That to me is an indication of a more serious problem, and we touched on that a little bit when we covered the show on X.
Depression.
And that is mental health.
Mental health.
That is depression.
Yep.
And you know, that in itself, we could do a whole show on that alone. That's a serious problem. And I think it's more serious than even, well, I'll speak for myself, than even I maybe recognized initially. I think there's more of a problem. And I think because we're in a generation where everything is touch easy, everything is instantaneously, like the terminology of cyberbullying and stuff like that. I think because it's things that we didn't grow up with, that we think that it's non-existent, or it's not real or something.
Yeah, and you're right.
These things, especially I would imagine for an artist whose life is in the public, is for the public to see, and on one side of the coin, it helps them, because for your fan base to be able to see who you are, what you're doing, what you're about, if you're about what you say you're about, it works for you in your favor. However,
it's also self-medication. It helps them in another way too. They're taking it to medicate themselves.
If you're a person that struggles with insecurities or depression or again, just mental health in general, then that same having to put yourself in the public's eye every day, every moment of the day, that could be a bit draining. That could be, I would say, would compile to your depression or add on to your suffering and maybe in your mental health or whatever the case. So I don't want to ramble, but I said all that to say in Mac Miller's case, which is a lot of these young guys' case, and not just young guys. I don't even want to say young guys because, as we said with X was 50 years old, and obviously it's clear that he was suffering from the same thing: depression, maybe certain scars that you never lived down, that you never talked about it, or you never got it out somehow, whatever the case. A lot of times for these guys, the music is the therapy.
Yeah.
But as we can see, there's maybe brief gratification when they're rocking a crowd or when they're releasing a song or whatever the case, but they still have to go when the camera and the lights turn off and the cameras turn off and the microphone is off. They still have to be themselves and they still have to live their life, and that's a lot of times harder, as we can see. That sometimes is more difficult and challenging than maybe we imagine or maybe that we can even comprehend. And a lot of times, like you said, they turn to self-medication. You turn to trying to medicate yourself or whatever. And so, like I said, in Mac Miller's case, I think that was more or less the case. We don't know what we don't know what he might have been going through or what kind of burden he felt he had to shoulder. But obviously, where he felt he had to medicate himself or whatever, or go over the board. And that's what I think about it. You said it's a culture of us going hard. No, everybody doesn't sit there and just use drugs and overdose on drugs. I don't think that's That's
so
indicative. I don't think that's indicative of our whole culture. I don't think that's indicative.
I agree. I'm not saying just the drugs though. So beautiful Efraj says, she was adding to what I was saying, says being too accessible. What I mean going extra hard, I mean is everything is overindulgence. Everything is more. If you have a problem, like if you're already dealing with the fact of having to be, in front of the crowd and having to be a certain person all the time, it's even more exacerbated when you're always, now you have to add now it's 24 hours. You can't even sleep without the reality TV cameras right there. Like, yo, is he slobbering while he's sleeping? What's going on? Like, I think that we finally reached a point in our society, and this isn't black, this isn't white, this isn't hip hop or rock. I think we finally reached a point where we're at like a precipice. We're on that thin line of, when are you off? Like, how many pictures of your food do you need? Do you have to buy another plate so you can take another picture? How many pictures of your mansion? How many cars can you have? How much drugs can you take? How much more vacations do you need anymore? Like, for the gram, are we still talking about YOLO? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're at a point in society where we're gonna have to either consciously decide, listen, we have to decide what we are as a human being, where and when we can take it. And some people gotten completely off Facebook, completely off Twitter, and you'll see a lot of newer artists are like, I don't do that stuff anymore. Most don't, but there's some who are like, yo, in order to stay spiritually sane, we can't just constantly go hard all the time on whatever it is. I think there's become that type of society where if you have a problem, it's gonna be exaggerated because of what's expected of you and me, much less a superstar. Every single day, yo, did you do the gram thing? Yo, did you do? But by the way, that people want to know what's going on right now. Hey, put the camera up. I think that's where we are. Like, yo, that filet mignon wasn't that good. Go to another spot. Let me see if we can get a better one. And I think we're in a society of complete overindulgence. Everything you want, you can get at a fingertip, literally. And we might be on that thin line, that precipice where we're, as a people, we're gonna have to decide how much further we're gonna take it, or when we're going to log off and when we're gonna log on. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah, I follow you. Here's the thing. Here's my take on it. I don't think that real life is imitating social media. I think social media is imitating real life. Now, I do think that in today's society, especially with our youth, and especially amongst our youth, that the pressures or the peer pressures and the influences and the images that you do see on social media could probably add to real life drama or whatever. But I don't think people in the hood, I don't think people in the wild 100s in Chicago or the south side of Chicago are going any harder because of social media. I think that it's just hard where they're at. And social media was created, and actually, you could use it as a gift and a curse. Obviously, the light that's been shed upon Chicago has been a negative one, in which they've used social media as a point to show you how many people they killed, who's getting shot on camera, which block is doing the shooting, and who's up as far as the killing. Like obviously with the BD-GD war that's been going on for the last, what, you probably know better than me, 15, 20 years now. Yeah, it's kind of like, and it's infectious because it's spread through our whole culture. But I don't want to get too far into that. But I just think that if you go to Bed-Stuy or you go to Brownsville right now, life is hard. Life is hard. So it's not like, oh, somebody has a smartphone and says, yeah, let me put on for the gram or whatever for the sake of putting on for the gram. I think that the guy in Brownsville at 17 years old feels compelled to go out there and hustle or rob to try to get a car, to try to perpetuate the image that he sees in his neighbor, in his surroundings. And like I said, not that social media does anything to offset that, because like you're
it
right,
exaggerates it. Yeah,
right. It probably takes it over the top, because now instead of just that one guy you see coming through the neighborhood with a Corvette, or the one guy you see coming through the neighborhood in a Range Rover, if you go to Instagram, it seems like everybody's living like that.
Yeah.
And so I would agree with your point there, but I just think like a lot of these kids, if you're coming from Crenshaw in South Central, life is just hard. Like life is just hard. Like that's something, and like you said before, I think the representation it came through organically through the music, but like you said, it what's the word you used?
Exaggerates.
Yeah, I think
or
social
exacerbates.
Media
Both of them work.
You may think, everybody has to have the 30 shot, has to have the extended clip with the 40 Glock. And, you know what I'm saying? And you don't smile, or you don't throw a cookout with your brothers, or you don't get along, or you don't play in the Johnny Poe, you don't play in what we used to do in the neighborhood, unscrew the hot fire hydrant,
yeah,
the water, and nobody don't play basketball. There's no such.
There's none of that. None of that left.
So, I just think I think I'm with you though. I'm in agreement that our culture, but I think it starts with us. I don't think we can blame it on the youth. I think it starts with us. In that, like, if you look at somebody like DMX, who obviously is somebody that both of us have looked up to, and probably the rest of the nation. Luda, is funny going back to Luda, referring to Luda. Luda had a song years ago that said, all this drinking's gonna catch up. All this smoking's gonna catch up. I can't remember exactly how the song went word for word, but I think you remember the song. Well, we're at that age where it's starting to catch up. And you know, Snoop, Redman, and Cypress Hill, they all taught us how to roll blunts. I think, but nobody ever said anything about self-preservation. Now, there's some people in our culture and in the black community that if you notice, because I can't say everybody is just abusing drugs. There are people that's dedicated to working out. I noticed that, having physical fitness is more popular nowadays. And not that it wasn't always popular, but at least, amongst the youth and coming out of high school or whatever the case, like if even dudes in the streets, like you see dudes with weights and protein shakes and going to the gym memberships and things like that. So I think we need to have more of that. That needs to be just as, it's okay to smoke your weed or have you a drink or whatever is your twist, whatever is your flow. But I think, like you said, abusing it or going over the top as we, again, let's use Black Rob and DMX and these tragedies as an example that, we definitely have to take care of ourselves. We definitely have to do better.
Well said, brother. Well said. Before I go to the next one, just some quick comments from Tanner Williams. She talks about the idea that, especially in black families, the idea of getting mental health at all, you better pray. We don't do psychiatrists. I think that's getting better over time, but I think that needs to be addressed. Beautiful Ifraj says the same thing.
You know what? That's okay. That's a good point you bring. That's okay. It's okay to go sit down and talk to somebody if you need to talk to somebody. And I usually don't get too personal, but I'm gonna get personal with you. I had a conversation with my son's mother not long ago, very, very not long ago, maybe today or yesterday, and we were speaking about the same thing. It's okay, because a lot of people. That's another thing with mental health. A lot of people go through life, and you forced to go through life, and people say, "Man, hold your head up." Yeah, it's gonna be all right. It's not. A lot of people are not all right.
Right.
A lot of things happen to people, and it's not all right.
It's not gonna be all right.
Okay, like it's not. You live your life thinking, like you said, you have to be tough. You have to create this hard exterior, and the truth is, you're hurting inside. You're hurting inside.
Yeah.
I think I heard you say that one time. Like, the hardest dudes, a lot of times those dudes are just hurt. Like a lot of times dudes are really hurting inside.
Yeah, hurt people.
They're hurting inside, man. So, that's a good point you bring up, man. That's okay, and I stamp that at 100%, man. It's okay to sit down and talk to some, psychiatrist, therapist, whatever you like. It's okay to sit down and talk to people sometimes, man. It's okay.
It's important. And that's why these people go to school, too. I was telling my boy today that same thing. Like, man, he was like, well, what can they tell me that I don't know? I've been self-reflecting. I'm like, family, you don't know how to make a plastic bottle. It looks simple, but someone had to go to school to understand the chemistry to put the bottle together. It seems simple. You think you know what you know, but there's people who go to school to understand and learn just how the mind works to help you out. Why not try it? You might learn something. But anyway, on the same note, I'm sure everybody who clicked on this saw the title. There's another side of always being on, always having to be on. And we're going to go back to Black Rob. Number one, before we talk about the funeral and Puffy and this and that, people, we saw this. This is what we saw the other day. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up, people. Hold on one second. So this, let me see, was this, I'm pulling up that meme, by the way, bro. Here it is. Y'all check this out, man.
Let's get into it.
Y'all check this out. And this is the part of having to be on all the time. People, look at this meme.
Let's get into it.
What are we talking about? Poor Puff. Black Rob goes, and Puff is rich. And now he has to be blamed for everybody's death or problems in Bad Boy. How can he get away from that? Right? This is kind of the false narrative that becomes always being on. You're dope if you have a $740 million yacht, but you're also equally responsible for everybody else on Earth if you have a $740 million yacht. You can't win. You can never win. And I want to talk about that.
I don't think it comes from people wanting to place responsibility as far as everybody on Earth dying. Just the people that you signed that helped you get to that yacht and $740 million. You know, let me start by saying this. I'm a Diddy fan. So understand, I'm not hating or I'm not, being biased in any way to the artist, obviously. But I think there is something to be said about that. Like, let's go into that. Like, let's look.
Let's do it. Fine, let's do this.
Because it's hard for somebody to say, yeah, Diddy's the great mogul, the great icon, the ill businessman, the ill CEO. Like, it's hard for you to give him all those accolades and alleviate him from any type of accountability or any kind of responsibility to these artists that that was once under his wing, that was once at Daddy's house.
Okay.
I think Daddy's house, I think is what he calls his joint in the city where the guys go.
I wouldn't know about Daddy's house.
I'll
leave that to you.
I don't know about guys walk from Manhattan.
I don't know about the Daddy's house.
That's when you made the guys walk from Manhattan to Brooklyn for cheesecake. Like,
what?
We cannot alleviate Diddy from all. I'm sorry. Like, we can't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
like,
hold on. We're talking about grown men. Diddy started out as a low-level production assistant. He put his feet up on the table. He went and shot his shot with Arista. He went and left the people that told him he couldn't do it. Went back to New York and started a little business. Did his little thing, and it became a big thing. If you're telling me that he's responsible, that this is a music contract, Arista, MGM, Sony. All these people have music contracts, and this is before the internet, so you can't just go do it on your own. You're telling me that you sign a contract that maybe doesn't do what you thought it should have done, like he did when he was a low-level assistant. It's his fault that you haven't done nothing yet. It's his fault that you didn't get. It's his fault that you got diabetes and died. It's his fault that you played the streets while he played the boardroom. It's his fault. I cannot go with that. You see what I have on today? Sean John. What happens?
I wonder who had to die for that shirt. I
don't care. That's the difference. What he did was he started a business. He didn't kill whoever died for that shirt. Right. No. Whoever died for him doing this shirt, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about that. That's ridiculous. It doesn't matter. What I do know is, because what I do know is the only reason why you didn't make the shirt is because you didn't make the shirt. You made money. You had the Porsches. You had the Aston Martins. You had the Lamborghini. And then when it came time to invest that money in something like a Sean John or a Ciroc or a clothing line. You know how I know? D-Boy Slim, you know how I know? I need you to check this out with me. Check this out with me. And tell me that I'm wrong. Let's check it out. Now, here I have a few, let's just put a few bad boy artists. Faith Evans is all right. Machine Gun Kelly is all right. I wonder what happened to Janelle Monáe is all right. French Montana is all right. You know why? Because they branched out. They got their own businesses. They did what they had to do to stay relevant. They did what they had to do to make the money. And you can't blame Rick Ross is all right. Stevie J got his own little reality show. Fabulous is all right. Bow Wow got his own little show. So you can't tell me that all the people who happen to do business, who happen to maneuver and go this way or that way, by making a move, turn $1 into $10, turning $10 into $100. The other ones who didn't do it, he has to pay for them. Come on, bro.
Diddy is dead. Craig Mack is dead.
Why? Why is that his fault?
Prison. G. Depp is in prison.
Why is
Black Rob is dead?
Why is
what are we talking about? I don't even know of another label that had so many artists that died prematurely. Like, I don't even think that's wrong. You can't even at least Dr. Dre and Snoop.
No, help me out.
Doing okay. They landed on their feet. Now, true indeed.
No.
That's the death row. It looks terrible.
Nah,
but, at least with them.
No.
Yeah, Biggie is gone, man.
No. Black Rob.
G. Depp is serving life in prison.
It was announced Black Rob has died at the age of 52 due to kidney failure. That has nothing to do, unless he was drinking Ciroc. That has nothing to do with P. Diddy. Because you live a certain lifestyle, you want to blame Diddy for not supporting that lifestyle. Black Rob was sentenced to over 7 years in prison after failing to appear in court. And people want to blame Diddy for that. He failed to appear for a grand larceny charge, and you want to blame Diddy for that.
What happened with Craig Mack?
Craig Mack died from heart failure in a hospital near his home. Okay? He was ill for
some these health issues. You need some type of health care plan or something, that bad boy. Why are these health issues?
He was ill for some time. And he was in the hospital for some time. Paid for. What else do you want, bruh?
Huh?
How
come these platinum artists don't have their medical?
That's what paid for means. That's what paid for means, bruh. You want to know why? Here's another reason why. If anything happened to Craig Mack after this, watch this. Your boy Sean Combs mentioned in a 1994 interview on Yo MTV Raps that he was working with Craig Mack on a second album. Yada, yada, yada. Mack himself appeared puzzled by the statement. He did release a second album, but pushed Diddy out of it. After you push Diddy out of it, you find out that your stuff didn't go nowhere. It didn't hit platinum.
What is Mace?
It didn't make it.
You seen Mace? You seen Mace lately?
You seen Faith Evans? She's doing fine.
You seen Mace lately?
You seen Machine Gun Kelly? He's doing fine. You know why?
You checked Mace lately?
He has 2 businesses. He has a clothing line and some drinks. He's doing fine. That's what I'm saying. Everybody got the camera on, man. Everybody got the camera on, and you want to blame somebody.
Where's the guys you made walk for cheesecake? Where they at?
Why did you do it? I wouldn't have walked for cheesecake. That's the problem. It's grown men.
Where the guys you made walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake? Look here.
Has anybody made you walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake?
That's
D-Boy
ridiculous.
Slim? D-Boy
That's
Slim?
ridiculous.
Walk over here right now, D-Boy Slim. I'll give you $1 million. Bring me some cheesecake.
You gonna walk to Snellville?
Exactly.
You gonna walk to Snellville?
Exactly.
You want a slice of
Exactly.
pizza?
Because you're a grown man. You won't do it.
Look here. You
That-
didn't look out for them either.
You know
didn't
where
look out for them
you know
either?
where they're at? They're
Yo.
dying of heart failure and kidney
That's bottom
disease.
line, obviously.
Because the lifestyle that while Diddy's playing the boardrooms and getting more deals and more money and enriching more people who want to help themselves, like Janelle Monáe, like Machine Gun Kelly, you play in the streets because you want to be what it was that you was rapping about. That's why. Accountability is what we're asking for.
You wouldn't give me my publishing, man. That's the truth.
You signed the contract. Accountability is what we're asking for.
Kids.
You signed the contract. That was in the... How come every lawsuit you've ever filed against him has gone nowhere? That's every one of them. That's every one of them.
Because you settled out. You broke us a couple dollars, man.
And you still died from heart failure. What you want me to do about that?
Mace trying to buy publishing right there.
Mace trying to buy a church in Atlanta. Who cares? I don't know what that means. All I know is you signed the contract. You signed the contract. You signed it. Janelle Monáe.
I was in the projects with no heat.
My man.
And you tell everybody I'm a bad boy. Yeah, I'm a bad boy. I was in the projects with no heat.
My man.
I would have signed anything.
You're telling me that they didn't get paid. You're telling me that they couldn't have created.
I would have signed anything.
There was no
$10,000.
Mace couldn't have.
Did you not hear me? I was in the projects. My mom was in the projects with no heat. I would have signed anything for $10,000.
Fine. With the money that they got from the contract, there couldn't be a Mace there couldn't have been a Mace clothing line.
You knew that.
There's no Mace clothing line. With the money that they got from the projects, from those contracts, there was no Locks clothing line. There's no Locks clothing line.
That's the only money.
You could
when you go back to the project. You want people to go back to the project.
I want people to use their money to invest instead of buying beer and alcohol. That's what I want them to do. I want them to get a YouTube page. I want you
have to buy alcohol if you own Ciroc. That's how I know you ain't right.
I need you to buy some more Ciroc. Or guess what? You can come into business with me. There's a few people on the
You won't even give me my publishing for my recording.
Bruh, you had money and you bought a lamb. Tell the truth. You bought a Lamborghini.
Why would I trust you with merch?
You bought a Lamborghini, not the rights to a clothing line. Tell the truth.
Why would I trust
Tell
you
the truth.
Merch?
You bought a Lamborghini and not the right. You bought a chain, but you didn't buy the copyrights to a shoe.
You won't even give me my publishing.
Bruh, that's because those same reasons is why you got exploited. Now, I'm just going to tell you this, bruh. I'm going to tell you this.
Right.
I just named you a bunch of other people on the same label that's all doing very well, branching out, making a lot of money.
How about Loon?
Who?
Where's Loon at?
Who?
Where's Loon?
His name is Loon. That's I'm trying to tell you, these people live the lifestyle that they paid for. They live.
You see?
Where's Looney? Where's Crazy Town? Where's 6ix9ine? Like, these people, what are you talking about? Where's C-Murder? He's in jail for murder is where he is. These people are living the life that they wanted.
You said I always had a home at Bad Boy Records.
Until you murdered. Or until you drink yourself to death. Or until you come and ask me for your publishing.
I said I was smacking you around. That's the whole thing. Like, I did 10 years because somebody was smacking you around in the club, and I bust my gun. You
got commissary all 10 years. Stop lying. And your family was fine. All 10 years.
That's ridiculous.
Stop lying.
That's unacceptable.
His family. You gonna tell me his family wasn't fine all 10 years? You telling me
my dad is a prime minister and believe that's unacceptable. I got deported after my 10 years upstate. I got deported.
Broham.
That's unacceptable.
Broham. If you're gonna blame, if I have a security guard and he gets locked up for defending me, you know what I'm gonna say?
My mom
He
is
chose to do that.
My mom still has an.
And I'm gonna take care of his family. That's all I can do. That's all I can do.
You didn't even pay for the attorney.
Who told you that?
Didn't even pay for the
Who told you that? That sounds like a lie. Who told you that?
You didn't even pay for the attorney team.
I'll look it up. That sound like a fabrication. I don't believe that.
That's accurate.
Let me see. Hold on, YouTube. We look things up here. He would do the same to me. He would do the same to me.
If I would have had the same type of A-list team you had, I might not have had to do all 10 years and get deported at the end of my sentence. If I would have had the same A-list team you had. You're not right.
You did have the same.
I did not have the same. That's when you threw me under the bus and got your own lawyer team so that they could throw me under the bus and trial. I did not have the same thing. You know what you did. You know what you did.
We're gonna let's quick Wikipedia, people. Just a quick. You're telling me that Puff didn't pay. When I know that he took care of the family, he didn't pay for the lawyers. It don't even make sense.
Took care of whose family? J-Lo's family? You take care of my family. Whose family? Baby Wolf, after Big Meech shot your man, maybe he took care of Wolf's family. He didn't take care of my family.
Yeah, maybe. I think beautiful Ifraj has the right thing. When you grow up and stop buying double gold chains and Ferraris, you probably would have had enough money to invest in a hat company.
What does that got to do with my diabetes?
What's your diabetes got to do with me? Is my that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out, man. That's what I'm trying to figure out, bro. Sean John, man. Get it right, man.
I sold 5 million records. There's no way I should be in the hospital, laid up, with no medicine and no cure, and I sold 5 million records for your company.
Diabetes has nothing to do with the amount of records you sold.
There's no way in the world.
You have to lay off the sweets. The diabetes has nothing to do with your platinum records. You should have eaten some broccoli. That's what you should have done. If you ate broccoli with the millions that you got from them 5 million records, you'd be okay right now. Instead, you chose cupcakes. And now you're in a hospital bed talking about Puff. What does he have to do with your diabetes? I fail to see it. I can't find it. Everybody blame Puff. For what?
You do blame Puff.
Huh?
Big ain't have to go. Why you made Big go to LA like that?
Big said he wanted to go. That was Big's decision to go. You didn't see the documentary?
You sent them out there.
And 5G is causing cancer. That's all I'm gonna say. all the conspiracy theories, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. That dude said he wanted to go because he was fired. He was cool enough to go to Cali. Everybody saw the documentary. That was Big's decision. We want to find a conspiracy theory for everything. And this goes back to the original statement. We're doing too much. I
just think it's something more to that. Like, I think there's a point to that. I think there's another. You can look at the hourglass half empty or half full. Like, it's something else. Rough Riders. You got what other independent labels you had? Cash Money. They're all doing okay.
Now wait a minute. How many people? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you going to tell me that Birdman, who stole money from everybody, is the one you're bringing up against Puff?
Put some respect on that name, man.
I will not. I cannot, in good conscience, put any respect on that name.
Put some respect on it.
That's the difference, is what I'm telling you is.
Yo,
Weezy.
They're not dead though.
But
these guys are not in the cemetery.
They're in jail. See, how many of them are in jail right now? Right now. Come on, bro. Come
BG
on,
will be
bro.
home soon, man. I don't know what you want from me. BG will be home soon.
like Brittany Siebenar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Brittany Siebenar says, the man didn't really walk on the moon. Conspiracies drive me crazy. We cannot blame people because we don't know what happened. You can't just put the blame on the guy with the camera. That's all I'm trying to say. Our culture of doing too much, seeing too much, being fake all the time is bad for human condition, man. And it drives this conspiracy theory that somehow Puff is almighty and causes diabetes and cancer and can control people's lives and their contracts. He does have control over their contracts, but not their pen that signs it. And, it's too easy to see all the bling, to see the yacht, and act like that has anything to do with the life choices of the people who aren't on the yacht. We got to stop that.
Yeah, but we be naive to think that the people that's now dying from diabetes that got shot in the suburban in California promoting his album that shot someone in the club because they were throwing money and bullying you.
That's the only one.
You be naive to just turn the other head and say, well, all those things are just coincidence, and Diddy really had nothing to do with these things. That's all I'm saying.
What else is it?
It's worth a second look at.
D-Boy, okay, fine. Real question. Honestly, what else is it? What else is that? What else is it? You tell me. What else is it that you say you shot somebody? What? It's not a coincidence. So you're telling me what did Puff do? What is it that you're alleging that he did? That's the question. Because if it's not a coincidence, it means it's orchestrated. What did he do to orchestrate that?
Well, the orchestration comes from obviously what you're seeing now. These guys are exploited and exploited and exploited, and taken advantage of until, they're laying in a hospital bed suffering from an illness, and they pass on, and then Diddy, may pay for the flowers at the funeral or something, but by then it's too late, man. It's too late at that point. You can't look like the hero at the funeral.
I can't with you, bro.
It's too late at that.
I can't.
Man.
Yes, he exploited. He exploited them to death.
That came up.
He exploited them to death.
Suffering for the past 2-3 years. It's not even funny.
So the accusation is that
diabetes, and you've been on the yacht. You've been on the yacht in the Diddy dance and whatnot. I don't know. Again. At the very least,
your accusation is that he exploited them to death.
It's not just an isolated incident. That's what I'm saying. It's not just one incident. It's an isolated incident. And sure, Faith, she bounced back on her feet after years of being broke since Big has been gone. But let's make no mistake about it. Since she was recording music under Bad Boy,
I thought you might bring that up. I got her resume here too.
Yeah, she's been broke.
No, allow me to help you out. What really happened was
she just got married to Stevie J last year, and Stevie J just got out of rehab himself. Stevie J was
allow me. What happened? What happened was Evans and Russo, her husband, who decided that Puffy wasn't doing enough for them, left, and then charged with possession of marijuana and cocaine.
You see?
And the improper tag violation during a traffic stop. Because they were driving with all of that stuff in Atlanta, Georgia.
He wasn't going to share that with us.
No. So this is what I'm telling you is that was after she left Bad Boy. Then decided that she wanted her husband, Russo, to be the new producer and tell her how to make her next album because Puffy wasn't doing enough. Immediately after, the next record was a flop, and she got caught doing mad drugs in Atlanta when Puffy was up there. Don't tell me about the fact that Puffy had something to do with that. Only when you leave him, only when you act crazy is when things like, look at the picture, people. Look at her mugshot. That's not Puff. That's her. That's Russo. She left him to go flop, and then finally started to make some noise now. That has nothing to do with Puff.
Well, it's either you try to make it on your own, or you get taken advantage of on the label. She was tired of being taken advantage of.
My friend?
That's just the bottom line. And by the way, have you heard anything from Carl Thomas lately? Where's Carl Thomas?
Where's Janelle Monáe?
Where's Carl Thomas?
Riddle
me that one.
Where's Janelle Monáe?
You haven't heard from Carl Thomas, huh? Now, if he pops up in the hospital, then you say, oh, Diddy got nothing to do with it, right?
Just come on, man. They're making wild. Where's Machine Gun Kelly?
That's what's up. Where's Mark Curry?
Where's French Montana?
That's what's up.
Okay, exactly. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Is it depends on what the person does with the opportunity given to them. Most of them bought chains and decided to say that he didn't push them enough, like all whack artists say, and the other ones did something with their lives. That's what happened.
Danny Kane, what's the name? Danny Kane still out there? Making the Band still out there?
You're lucky you got on Making the Band, Dylon. Where is Dylon without Making the Band? That's what he gives the opportunity. Let me see. You said sold his soul to the devil. He even lost Kim. Who are you talking about, beautiful?
Wouldn't have made them walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake.
Yes, they would. No, that's the problem.
Epic Records wouldn't make you walk to Brooklyn for cheesecake.
Have you heard any stories from Epic Records about how they treated people? This is the record business, people. This is the record business, people. You want your publishing, you got to be dead nice and have a lawyer. Unless you do that, you take your money and you start a business like he did when he was an intern at, what was that? What was the LaFace? No, before LaFace record. Uptown Records. That's what you do.
The only thing equivalent to walking to Brooklyn for cheesecake and misusing your artist like that is Suge Knight hanging Vanilla Ice off the balcony.
I can't with you, man. I can't with you. You're talking about a TV show, reality TV show that's staged and fronted on. I don't know about that. All I know is the chance that he gave people, some chose to use it wisely and are doing well.
Yeah.
Some...
You asked Dylon how much of a chance did he give him?
He's still spitting hot fire. That's what Dylon's doing.
You don't know. You asked Dylon how much of a chance did he give him?
All right, let's get to some comments here. Beautiful Ephraim says he even lost Kim. Who are you talking about? Who you said lost? You said he even lost Kim.
Where is little Kim anyway? You see what I'm saying?
He lost Kim. Did he lose Kim? What happened? I don't know what happened with that. How did he lose Kim?
Don't worry about it.
How did that happen?
know.
She looked like a rat right now. Like that has nothing to do with him, man. Like Kim lost her face. You say he lost Kim. Who is Kim? She's not even Kim anymore.
Oh, she talking about Kim Porter. She talking about Kim Porter.
Oh, okay. I'm like, yo, what are we talking about?
I was about to say, yeah, you matter of fact, where is little Kim?
Like, what? What are we talking about? Porter. Okay. All right. More shout out.
Let's Kim Porter.
We got Brittany back again. Sebenar says, I feel that the growth from that by the person being exploited falls in the hands on the person themselves, not the person taking advantage. And that's my point. I'm on the fence with that. Like we're being funny and everything. There is like the housing crisis. You can't have predatory lenders, right? Yeah, you signed a contract, but someone took advantage of your ignorance, of what you didn't know, and used it to your disadvantage. That's true. But there's another side of that where it is personal responsibility, because you can't say you didn't make money. You can't say you didn't get a Lambo. You can't say you weren't wearing the best clothes. You can't say you didn't travel over there and you just decided not to shake hands. You decided to smoke weed in the hotel and not shake hands with the club owner. You can't say that these other things weren't happening. The chances that you got, that other people took advantage of who signed with him. It's not 100% always the person who's being taken advantage of is their fault, because you can do that. I mean, we're also human, but
that's the record business.
That's the nature. Yeah, that's the nature of the record business, though. So when you do get out there, when you do go to England, you do go on tour, and you do meet 112, and you do meet the lead singer of this part, you do meet the drummer, and you do meet the Arista people, it's up to it's your chance now. So, were you gonna go and take the cruise, and buy the chain and the Lambo, or were you gonna invest it in that clothing company from that person you shook hands with at the last concert, or the hotel room? And what you do with that becomes yours when we talk about this much money. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. People chose to indulge their lifestyle rather than attack the boardroom. You know what I would have done if I had signed to him as a producer or anything else? I would be behind him just like this for 5 years straight to see what he was doing in the boardroom. I would have brought.
Where's Mr. Bentley at?
I would have brought.
Anybody seen Mr. Bentley?
Farnsworth decided to do something with it. He started selling umbrellas. That's what I'm trying to tell you is the guy who opens the door. Al Capone opened the door for your boy.
Anybody seen Bentley?
Who did Al Capone open the door for? Myers. For Myers. Al Capone opened the door for Myers and then ended up having his own business in Chicago. Farnsworth still is selling umbrellas. He made something from that. He had his own video with Andre 3000. And all he did was open the door for the family. So you can't tell me that you can't make something from the opportunity he gave you. No Regret says, same as TLC. They rushed to sign their contract without having a lawyer review it. They screwed themselves out of a lot of money as well. The industry will do you dirty if you fail to read the contract. It's what it comes down to. And then you have to make the lemonade out the lemons at that point. Everybody's made a mistake. You're not an idiot because you signed a bad contract. What you did afterwards is all like what you did with the publicity you got. You got a name. You had a record deal. You shook hands. You got some money. Did you buy the condo? Did you ever get that lawyer you were talking about? This is what I'm saying.
I wonder if Craig Mack ever got his publishing back.
He's dead.
You think Craig Mack's family? You think Craig Mack family owns the right to his publishing?
I think Craig Mack is now dead. And whatever he could have
That's
done,
the whole thing.
whatever he could have done to change that, he no longer has that chance. Whatever he could have done to change that, he no longer has that chance. That's not Sean John's fault.
That ain't right.
That's
That
not
ain't
Sean
right.
John's fault.
Right.
It's the facts.
That ain't right.
These are the facts. Whatever he could have done to change that,
that's like
he now
that's
can't.
like the hip hop debates blowing up, and your timely demise comes, and I just keep all 100% and don't even bother to cut the misses in, like, and cut little DC in.
But understand that that'll never happen because we already have a great signature that if I'm gone, they're gonna get the half already.
You know what I'm saying?
It's already done beforehand. It's been done. That will never happen because we approached it as men and we're accountable for ourselves.
If I died, and Miss Gail, my mom, that never sees a dime of anything that comes about from the show or my cut or whatever, like, God forbid. But man.
Well, the deal. So the deal is, even you saying that right now, if you felt that to be the case, you might want to get that straight. That's what I'm trying to. You gonna wait till then? You gonna wait till then?
Think about it. I remember there's a saying you always had, and that's,
oh boy, let me see
doing good business. Nah, I mean, doing it. There's a thing about doing good business, man. You do the right thing, man. You got to do the right thing, man. At some point, you got to do the right thing. You got to do the right thing.
All right, no regrets. We'll see you later.
Take the short dollar or whatever, man, all the time. Like, do the right thing, man. Get these people their stuff, man. Get these people their stuff so that they're able to live a quality and healthy life, man. A lot of times, people just don't have the access and resources to tap in to be able to get that help for their kidneys and for their diabetes. And like I said, it's cool to pay for the flowers after the fact, but if the man is flowers while he's here, man, like, don't wait like that, man. The guy asked you, could he buy his publishing for 20 grand? Maybe 20,000 is all he had, man. Why? What's
you can't get it for 20 grand. That's an idiotic number.
What's it to you? I mean,
what's it to me? It's my business.
Even if you wanted to, what's it to you, man? Like, if the man is publishing.
That's gas for my yacht, is what that's to me.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, right there. That's what we saying. And that's all we saying. Right there. That's all we saying.
All right, people.
That's all it is. Gas for the yacht. Meanwhile, I can't get no help with my kidney.
Nah, that's not true, man. That he was in the hospital for quite a while, all paid for, man. All paid for. Not by Diddy. Well, they didn't specify that because of HIPAA rules, but I'm 100% sure that if he was out of that much cash, the only person who's gonna pay for it would be Diddy or the company. So let's be real. Let's be real. If he was out all of that cash and everything was paid for by someone else, we would have known.
After he became terminal.
No. He was sickly for a while though. It was a long time.
No. Diddy didn't get involved. Diddy didn't become involved until that picture of him in the hospital went viral. Like you said, he may have been suffering prior to that, but Diddy, I think, maybe found out when the rest of the world found out exactly what was going on with Black Rob. Once that picture.
No, I was talking about Craig Mack. Craig Mack. Not Black Rob.
Oh man,
yeah.
He did something for Craig Mack? Did he do anything?
Yeah. All of that hospital bill was paid for, man. All of that.
He still got the man publishing. I bet you $20.
I bet you if he got his own publishing, that all the hospital bills wouldn't have been paid for. How about that? You might want to let Diddy hold on to that for you, family.
He still got the man published.
You might want to let Diddy hold on to that publishing for you, family. Because if you had a hold of it, there wouldn't be none left. I can tell you that.
You don't know. He might not be in the hospital.
Listen, people, we're going to leave it up to you. Right down there in the comment section. We talked about a few things. The death of a lot of rappers. Fred the Godson, we still didn't even get to him yet. Some really, really great people. Why? What's going on? Is it
tragic?
Yeah.
How many years? This platform, ladies and gentlemen, this platform here was partially built because of MCs and artists like Fred the Godson. How many years you spent in the basement listening to new Fred the Godson?
Man, he's a founding member of the Basement Debates. Founding member. He's a founding member of Late Night Hip Hop Live. Tanner Young, we appreciate you. Tanner Young, beautiful Ephraim. No regrets is gone, but we appreciate you. Brittany, you already know. I'm not going to try to pronounce it for a third time. I did it twice right already. I'm gonna take that as a win. Tanner Williams, Gold AME. Who else we got chiming in? I'm gonna run with that, and everybody else, put your comments. All the things we talked about. Death of the rappers.
He had some type of kidney failure too.
Really?
And diabetes is serious.
Yeah.
I want to say that's what if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that's what took my man up in the shop, my man up in Chicago, Big Tim.
Professor Brown, appreciate you. Really? Yeah,
that stuff is serious.
That's one of the things that's killing black people at an alarming rate. That's way more than anybody else.
I think as we
get diabetes and heart disease. So, I mean, we got to make better decisions. We got to make better decisions.
As black men, we tend to ignore these things. I think that may be one of the black men's fears of just going to the doctor and getting regular annual checkups and things like that. You probably a lot of black men and myself included. You know. Like you said, you may have lived the lifestyle of smoking weed and drinking liquor hard for 20-something years and don't really want to find out what's going on with you. But
guess what, people?
Yeah, we're at that age. I'm speaking to the dudes 35 and older. You're at that age, yeah, you got to keep some water. We got to take care of ourselves, people. We got to take care of ourselves.
Keep your water up, people. We love all of you. We want you to stay around for a while. We make fun, we laugh, we talk about everything. You can leave your comments down there. But one thing we want you to know is we appreciate you, we love you, and this is always meant as a way to uplift and help each other. This is never meant, nothing we say here is meant as a way to down ourselves, our culture, or anybody else, or anything else. But hip-hop, we live by this, and so we speak real on it. And we hope that you've had a good time with us, man. I think we're good today, bro. What do you think?
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground. I tried to cover as much as possible. But
very big,
yeah,
man.
Shouts out to everybody. Rest in peace to all those we mentioned.
Yeah, please.
All the MCs, all the rappers, shouts out, and rest in peace. We didn't mention Mo 3 either. Mo 3.
Mo 3. He was at the end of the list. I didn't even get to him. Gone.
And, that's a whole nother issue.
Did we say King Von? I think I said King Von.
That this bravado and you catching beef on the internet and then you see the guy in real life and you either willing to throw your life away by killing him or I was thinking. And not to drag it, but I was thinking about the whole Troy Ave. And
how quickly?
What was the other guy's Taxstone?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that whole. I mean, this stuff is frivolous. Like it doesn't. It's unnecessary. And you got dudes out there like y'all out there getting to a real bag a bag that people would kill for. That's like the bag y'all get into is the thing that people would deem worth killing. But not because you said, "Oh, your album is trash" or "your team is soft" or something like that.
No,
like I mean,
you get the bag and throw it away.
It's out of control.
You get the bag and throw it away. Don't make no sense, man.
It's out of control. Like career, like I was just thinking about that situation. I'm like, Taxstone was on the pioneer side of when the podcasting first started to take off. Like there was no, if you listen to Nori and all the Drink Champs, Joe Buttons and all of that, like Taxstone was right there at the beginning of when all the podcasting was taking off, and he decided to throw his life away for Troy Ave, and Troy Ave the same. Like he was one of the artists that before there was a Pop Smoke, before there was a Bobby Smurder, like Troy Ave was the hit.
Yeah.
Boom, just for nothing, like he decided to throw it all away, like for nothing. Like it's just ego, tough guy, bravado, trying to prove something or whatever, like, and it don't really be about nothing. It don't really be about nothing.
Let's be about
you get
love.
older and you realize like that's the key, just to be able to grow older. And a lot of times it's you gotta stand down and just let things roll off your shoulder. Like every what's the old saying, Bruce? Every saying every saying does, or everything doesn't require a response in layman's terms. Every reaction doesn't require. I mean, every action doesn't require a response.
Exactly. And people who are mature and who understand the value of what they have artistically, monetarily, and spiritually have to figure that out at some point. They have to figure that out at some point.
All the rappers, because that wasn't the case, I don't think. Obviously Nipsey or whatever, but that wasn't the case for all of them. But the King Von situation, like I just mentioned, the Troy Ave, like that's something we just watch unfold on the internet. Like those are beefs we watch unfold on the internet. So
y'all leave your comments down there. Well said. I got nothing more to say. D-Boy Slim.
We off this. We got more dope shows coming.
Peace.